Hey there, everybody. This is the Nice Goblin podcast. I'm your host, NiceGoblin94, joined as always by the lovely Mystik.
Hi.
And today we're going to respond to your comments, answer a question from the old and new books of questions, and just try to get away from it all for a little bit. So grab your pork rinds and/or sandwich, and let's go. Changed up the intro a little bit today. Bonus points if
I'm
you
excited.
bonus points if you get the reference that I made in the intro.
I don't know if I even get the reference.
I will tell you after we're done recording, because
Sweet.
there's no point in offering bonus points just to spoil the surprise of the bonus points.
I mean, obviously.
Speaking of bonus points, I left a secret message in the description of last week's video.
Yes, you
And
did. I saw that.
see, I didn't know that you saw it because you didn't ever tell me. Like, you didn't follow the rules.
I didn't think I had to.
Well, it would have been nice.
Well, okay, I'll follow the rules next time then.
Well, there's not always going to be a secret message, but just saying, check the description because there's some pretty good stuff in there, like links to our Discord, links to my Twitch and Twitter. Um, so that way you can stay up to date. I have started streaming on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from about 10:30 or 11. Just kind of depends on when I'm able to get away from my day job. And I'd really love to be able to interact with y'all on Twitch. I've been playing some Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition. I refuse to call it remastered, even though that's all it is.
I love
Um,
it.
well, it's literally on the artwork and everything. It highlights Mars and the thing. But yeah,
I
so
mean, we also know that I'm a sucker for puns. Like, I love puns so much.
yeah, it's true. But and yeah, no, it. I don't know why. It just seemed like a fitting game to play right now. Can't imagine why. And that's as political as we're gonna get for the time being. Um, Go figure. A game about the people throwing off the oppressive military regime. Seems kind of appropriate for 2020. Um,
Just remember, everybody, the birds work for the bourgeoisie.
but yeah,
Just to
so
throw some lightheartedness in there.
right. But yeah, no, I'd love to be able to interact with y'all. Like I said, Twitch. Follow me on Twitter because I may also have some free time where I'm just like, hey, you know what? I feel like streaming, and if you want to hang out with me while I maybe play some Fall Guys or something like that, come and join the fun. Like I'm wanting to interact with you guys. So
Heck yeah. And then I may start back up Twitch soon since my internet situation is possibly improving permanently soon. We'll see. I'm still not 100% on that. But hopefully I will have a Twitch to be plugging soon. I do have my Twitter that will be down in the description as well. And then I may be possibly plugging some new stuff soon. We'll see.
ooh,
Still kind of putting things together, but keep an eye on the description and I may have some stuff down there soon too.
yeah, and also like I said, you never know whenever there's going to be a secret message, and that secret message may just be a positive affirmation for the week. It may be a link to a Steam gift card. It may be something else. It may be some tasteful nudes of me. I mean,
Or
you know,
me.
or yeah, or Mystik. You never know. But they're gonna be tasteful nudes. Something artistic.
Oh, because I took some really good ones tonight with my hair change. For those of you who don't know, I was blonde there for a little bit. And I now have a new hair color, which is very exciting. So if you want to see more about that, I put all of that on my Twitter.
Yeah. So check the description, darn it.
Yes.
Also, while you're down there, like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know because, as I said, we are going to be responding to your comments. Um, and right now, we're able to respond to pretty much every comment that we've gotten, because we have so few, if like, yes, I want to see this grow, but I also would love to see this segment grow into something that maybe we just do an entire podcast of question and answer and reading and reacting to y'all's comments. Like, that would be fun for me. So
I would love that.
if that sounds like something fun for you, spread the word. Tell your friends and family. Like, help us grow and help us get that audience, and you know, let us let us know what you want to see, what you would like to hear, and we'll see what we can do. We are trying to get into the business of entertainment, which
Well, and we also want more of like a community thing. We're not trying to be like some unattainable celebrities on the internet. We
yeah,
want to be like a community. We want to be your friends. We want to be somebody that you come to when you've had a really bad week and you turn on our podcast and we talk about, like positive things. We talk about funny stories. We read funny comments and just kind of two people that you can come to and see as your friends and unwind with us and kind of forget about all the harshness, especially of 2020 right now. But, just like all the negative things right now, it's nice to have a home, so to say, away from it all. And we'd love to be that for you. Like, we really do want to build a community.
yeah. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at those questions, or I'm sorry, not questions, comments. Uh, I'll go ahead and start us off with a comment from Brandon all the way back on our first video. Brandon says this was a pretty fun PC, and I love the ending. ROFL.
And by PC, of course, he means podcast, and
Yes,
ROFL for all of our older people who don't know the leet speak of the internet is rolling on floor laughing.
leet speak. Have not heard that in a while.
I'm sorry, you're right. L337 speak.
Yes, because we are leet hacksaws.
Yes. Oh, the memories.
The
The
cringe.
memories.
The cringe. What are you talking
The
about? Memories.
RAR XD.
Oh God.
I was that kid.
I'd like to say that surprises me, but I've seen the pictures of you from that time. That doesn't surprise me.
Right?
So I believe that you have a comment from the first episode.
Yes, I do. So we have a comment from Christine. My new favorite podcast. Well, thank you so much, Christine. Again, we really hope that you really do enjoy this podcast and that we'll see you here every Sunday and that you'll keep giving us these great comments. It really warms our heart. You're breathtaking. You're our new favorite person.
Right. Darklight Raven also commented on our first episode. That poor dog losing her puppies like that. I'm glad that she and those kittens had each other. That, of course, a reference to the uplifting news segment that we had about the dog taking in those kittens and being a foster mother for them. So, uh, we try to talk about good, uplifting stuff, and Mystik said, positivity and just finding the light in the world. So, yeah, we touch on some subject matter like that.
And it's great that Darklight Raven really enjoyed that story. Like I do agree. I am so glad that these what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. I had like this whole fantastic sentence in my head that these kindred souls, that's what it is, came together and it fits so perfectly. It was such a great story.
Right.
Let's see. Our next comment is from Joseph. Hopefully, Florida boy doesn't become Florida man. We have too many of them. Too many of them? I thought they were all the same man in just different forms.
See, I'm gonna counter that. I'm hoping that this particular Florida boy becomes a new breed of Florida man.
Yes.
You
As we
know,
said before, we hope that this Florida boy becomes a better Florida man and defeats Florida man for the
Flor-
sake of all.
Florida Man 2.0 doesn't have the same headlines. I want Florida Man to stop being Florida Man. I want Florida Man to give us better stories that we can talk about. I also wouldn't mind Texas Man doing that, because Texas Man, he can get as bad as Florida Man sometimes. Let's be
I
honest.
mean, yeah, it's Texas.
Like I love,
Florida's got some pretty bad meth and crack, but Texas does too.
I love my state, but Texas Man, let's not become, let's not let Florida Man make us the new Florida Man.
Please no.
All right, and that is all from the first episode. Believe that we do have a comment from the second episode. Mystik, you want to go ahead and read that one?
Yes, because it does pertain to my story about Final Fantasy, which I am still so into. Just throwing that out there is such a fantastic game. So, from the second episode, we have Joseph again. I believe this is the same Joseph who said that Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy 14, is actually bringing me back to the whole MMO scene. It brought a lot to the table that World of Warcraft and the like just can't. And I think I kind of touched on that. I do agree. Final Fantasy, you don't have to pick a specific role like healer or tank and just stick with that. You can actually interchange between them. And unlike some other MMOs, you don't just pick one profession or two professions like mining and blacksmithing. You can do them all. It really, really does have a lot and brings a lot to the table that really makes it competitive with more established MMOs. And I'm still very much enjoying it.
I still haven't touched it. I did actually kind of briefly go to Final Fantasy 15 for a little bit, and then I started playing Red Faction. And while I do
The
enjoy,
rest is history.
right, while I do enjoy Final Fantasy 15 for its graphics and its music, there is something about just taking a sledgehammer to the base of a building and bringing it down on top of my head for kicks and giggles. So,
I mean, that does sound very therapeutic.
oh, no, it is like you wouldn't believe,
No, I can believe it. I may enjoy games like Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing and all that, but every once in a while, I gotta get me a violent game and I just gotta smash things.
right? That's that's why I always like. I haven't played a lot of more recent Call of Duties, but I've always said that Call of Duty is the equivalent of a Michael Bay movie. It's whenever I don't want to think too hard about what's going on. I don't want to really have to. I just want to go in, be pointed in a direction, given an instrument of death, and say everything between you and that needs to stop moving.
Well, unless you play online with me. Fun fact, when I used to play online a lot in Call of Duty with my friends when I was younger, we literally used to come up with the stupidest names for call outs when we would die. Like, you know how most of the time there's like quote unquote official terms for like various parts of the map, like upper level hallway or whatever.
Yeah,
We used to say stupid things like taco salad, and that meant like one section we called taco salad, and there was purple dinosaur, and it was so stupid, but it worked. It worked. We would just conquer the other team, and it was the funniest thing ever when we got randoms.
that is actually really kind of awesome. I love that.
We'll have to do that sometime if we play a shooter together.
Right. Moving on to comments from our third episode, just last week. We had Brandon, same Brandon from the first episode, I believe, at least as far as I can tell. That first story was awesome. Loved the end of it. I've really enjoyed these podcasts. Well, I'm glad that you have enjoyed it. I'm glad that you enjoyed that story too. Uh, that is, of course, referring to the writing prompt short story that we found about the aliens who did not realize humans bite.
Correction, humans bite back.
Yes. Um,
Unless you're a toddler, in which case you do bite first.
Toddlers play by their own rules.
Toddlers play by the rules of chaos.
Chaos is how I learn. Have you not seen that webcomic?
I don't think I have. You'll have to show it to me later.
Oh man, it's the I follow him on Instagram. It's Strange Planet or something like that. It's the it's the blue alien looking guys.
Oh, Nathan Pike.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. So I opened Instagram to try to find that particular individual, and the first thing that I see is some creepypasta thing, and I'm like,
Oh no.
great. I'm glad that I'm not recording this at an ungodly hour in the morning right before I go to bed. So
Oh, I found it. I just did a quick Google and I found it. It's the little toddler alien laying among
yes,
like little blocks.
yes,
Chaos is how I learn. I love those comics. They're precious. The only one I really follow on Instagram is Pet Foolery with
yes,
Brutus and Pixie. Oh, I adore
yes.
them.
I
Tag
did.
yourself, I'm Brutus.
I am actually kind of disappointed because I didn't realize that he was taking vocal auditions for dubbing a
What?
Brutus or dubbing a comic, and I didn't find out until like way after submissions had closed. And I was like, oh, I would have auditioned for Brutus so hard.
Oh, that's amazing. You would have been so good at that.
I wish I had, but oh well.
Ah, well,
Who,
maybe next time.
who knows? Maybe he will somehow find this podcast and be like, hey, you. Yeah,
We can dream.
that's all this podcast is just my backdoor vocal auditions. Like I'm hoping
I knew it.
that a
I
vocal
knew it.
talent scout is going to trip over this one night at 3 a.m. and be
On
like,
the weird part of YouTube.
yes, be like that guy, that goblin guy, that nice goblin 94. Okay, I'm done. Would you like to read our next comment?
Yes. So our next comment comes from Christine, which I believe is the same one. As always, covering interesting topics and stories. Also, Mystic, I love you. I love you too, Christine. Thank you so much for sticking with us on this. It's great to see your comments. I'm so excited that you like this. It makes me warm and fuzzy.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I upload, I'm I'm glad that I tend to work uh, on Sundays, so I'll like upload and then I have to leave because otherwise I would just spend the entire rest of the Sunday refreshing the page. Like, we got another view. Like,
I don't do that at all on Sundays.
you have to because I'm at work.
Me never. Couldn't be me.
All right. Um, Another comment on that third episode was again from Darklight Raven. Really glad that she's got that nice unique name that kind of stands out. The story about God's new IT guy is so cute. I agree. I really did enjoy that story that Mystic found.
It was a very cute concept because it really does paint God as, this person, this being just trying to keep up with technological advances. We really have evolved very rapidly in the past 20 or so years. We have made leaps and bounds that even as a millennial and with a tech degree, a computer degree, I sometimes find it hard to keep up with it. So it's just a really precious, humanizing story, I would say.
Oh, no doubt. I remember I went to Job Corps back in 2016 to learn computer repair, and it was a weird time to go because the people that were like, had I gone a month earlier than I did, I would have still been tested over floppy drives.
Right? Floppy disks. Good.
Now,
Does,
now,
okay, we
for
need comments. Does anybody remember floppy disks, please?
for any Zoomers that are listening, a floppy disk is that thing that looks like somebody 3D printed the save button.
I told you the story that somebody actually said that to me at TJC, right?
No, you did not.
Oh, okay, I'll tell you the story after. Or I can save it for a next episode. It's it's traumatic to me.
I can only imagine. I remember buying a box of floppy disks because I was trying to do some writing, and the computer that I had at the time, uh, it did not have a read write drive, like a read write CD drive, or if it did, I wasn't consciously aware of how to use it. And floppy disks were just easier to use, so I wrote a couple of chapters of like a short novel, and now I couldn't tell you where that box went. And good luck finding something that runs floppies.
No kidding.
But yeah, and I believe we have one more comment. I'll let you go ahead and take that one.
We do. This is from Joseph again. Glad to see that this gentleman, assumed gentleman, I'm so sorry, is enjoying this as well. He says, "You know, God would be running some outdated setup. This bad boy is equipped with the latest Pentium 3 processor." Oh man, Pentium 3s. When were Pentium 3s a thing? I want to say they were like early 2000s.
I could not tell you. I just remember the Weird Al song. It's all about the Pentiums, baby.
Oh my lord, I was right. They were introduced on February 26th of 1999, which
Oh
means they
man,
probably weren't like an actual thing for your average buyer until probably about 2000, 2001. The fact that I remembered that is terrifying and I feel so old right now. But I mean, that I have to agree with this comment. Again, as I said earlier, humanizing God a little bit and, trouble having trouble keeping up with things. I really do think God would be like, yeah, this bad boy, and slaps it like the hood of a car,
right?
is equipped with the latest Pentium 3 processor. And our main character of that story looking at God and saying, God, that's uh that's 20 years old.
See, and before anybody gets their panties in a wad, I just want to interject. We're not doing that to like make light of the Almighty. I just legitimately think being as eternal as God, would the passing of 20 years to somebody like that,
Would be the blink of an eye.
it wouldn't even be. It would be an afternoon. Like just like he sits down and 20 years have passed. Like
Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. But again, it also humanizes. I think
yeah,
it's kind of nice to take a step back from this all-powerful, all-knowing, terrifying being and giving more human qualities, more mortal qualities that makes you feel maybe closer to God. It's really adorable.
yeah. So I just wanted to preface that before we start getting hate mail or anything. Y'all are making fun of God. No, we're really not. It's kind of awe-inspiring, like in my opinion, to think
Exactly.
how would an eternal being uh, recognize the quickness with which? Because I mean, like you said, we've made so like 20 years ago the Pentium 3 came out, and you look at what we can do with computers now. Look at how small and how much more advanced they've gotten in that 20-year frame to where like I remember my first cell phone. It was a flip phone.
Mhm.
I remember I remember I accidentally hit the internet button on that thing and I immediately started trying to back out because we didn't have unlimited internet on that phone. That was a luxury add-on.
Well, not even that, not even unlimited internet. Do you remember when every single text sent and received cost money? Unlimited texting
Yes.
wasn't even a thing.
See, I didn't have a cell phone at that point because my parents were just like, "No, we don't want you texting and driving the bill up."
Oh no, I didn't have one either. I'm just saying, like, I remember when that
But
was
yeah,
a thing.
or call me after 9 o'clock when my phone's free.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Or my personal favorite, I distinctly remember all of those call collect commercials. Just dial down the center with 1-800-CLLET ECT or whatever it was. because I watched a lot of TV growing up, like a lot, a lot.
I
Like
really didn't, but I do remember. I think it was a Singular. By the way, Singular used to be AT&T used to be Singular. Just for those
yes,
who don't know, but it was the one that was like the little girl racked up like $2,000 of text messages or something. It was like when unlimited texting was first being advertised,
yeah,
and she was talking in like text speak to her mom. And my
yes,
favorite part is IDK, my BFF Jill. I still quote that, and you know this.
yes. But yeah, that is just astounding to me that not even in our lifetime, in our high school, like in our school years, it went from nobody had a cell phone to you were the outcast kind of social pariah if you didn't have a cell phone. Uh, Calling myself out there. Um,
Mood.
but not only that, just like I have a little brother who is still in school, and I've been graduated since 2012. My first phone that I bought a phone my senior year, and it had like I bought the unlimited plan. I did not need the unlimited plan. I had the disposable income for the unlimited plan.
Ah,
Uh,
those were the days. Disposable income.
right. Um, so I had the unlimited plan, and I thought I was some boss dog on campus because I could get on Facebook on my phone. I would like to point out that Facebook on this particular phone was such a drag. Like, I get frustrated now if my phone takes more than like 30 seconds to load a page.
Oh, that's a mood.
Like, if my phone does not instantly call up whatever page I'm on, I know something's wrong with the Wi-Fi. I mean, like I stand up, like my phone can start taking longer than a few seconds to load. I stand up, I start moving to the router, like because obviously that needs to be reset now.
Oh, also, I just love that you mentioned, like back in the day with Facebook and everything on the phone. Now, I'm pretty sure you can get on Facebook like on your refrigerator.
Oh yeah, they have them.
I know you can play Skyrim on your refrigerator.
Man, I'm pretty sure Todd Howard would have Skyrim on like the TI-84s if he could.
I mean, we'll find out soon with Skyrim, or well, not Skyrim 6, but The Elder Scrolls 6, because did you see they got bought out?
Yes, Microsoft now owns Bethesda, uh, ZeniMax, all of those companies. I'm gonna be kind of curious to see how that plays out because I'm a Sony fanboy.
Well, here's the thing though. If you look at Microsoft's history so far with buying out these studios, they haven't changed much in the way they work, but they have been throwing them bukus of money.
I I did see a picture today on the on one website. I don't remember if it was Reddit or Imager or just something. Might have been Twitter for all I know, but it was a picture of the girl. She's crying, sitting at the desk, and it's Microsoft forcing Bethesda to release something on time with no bugs.
Yes, I cackled over that. I saw that earlier today myself.
Like it's true though. Like I I have not played Fallout 76. I feel like I dodged a bullet there.
It's gotten a lot better, kind of like No Man's Sky. It came out rough, but they've been doing a lot of like quality of life patches to fix a lot of things they promised, and it's a very solid game now. I recommend it.
But here's my thing. I remember, since this seems to have become the nostalgia week, uh, I remember playing on the PlayStation 2. Uh, I remember playing like Lord of the Rings Two Towers on PlayStation 2 with my buddy. I remember that being like the height of graphics and of gameplay. Keep in mind, this is before tie-in movie games were unanimously like always going to be dog crap. this was back like this game actually tried to be a good tie-in. Um, but I remember whenever you bought a game, and
And
if
you got the whole game.
yes, like if it was for a console, there was no day one patch. There was no mods unless you were on PC, and even then, those were kind of not as big as they were or as they are now. Um, but there was no day one patch. That disc, you dropped your money on the counter at Walmart or GameStop or wherever you bought your games.
Or Blockbuster.
Man, you are trying to make this nostalgia week, aren't you?
You got me on it. I'm good at EB Games before they were absolved by GameStop. They used to be EB Games.
Yes.
You know they
Um,
still exist in Canada.
one more reason I might be moving to the Great White North. But not too much snow. But yeah, no, I just like I remember whenever you bought a game and if your console said PS2 and the game case and the game disc said PS2, as long as that game wasn't scratched to hell on the back, you played that game. And if your game sucked, there was no patch. There was no, oh, give it a few years for them to do some quality life improvement. It was just, we released a broken game. We're sorry. Thanks for the money though. And I like I don't want to become old man yells at cloud, but back in my old day, or like back in my day, that's how it was, and I miss it. Not because I'm bitter. Like I'm glad that we have the advancement and that we have the ability to make these really awesome games. Because I remember I was on the hype train for No Man's Sky since you brought that up.
I was too.
And I remember seeing those early reviews and just being crushed. So I'm glad that we have that ability to go back to those games and to make them what they were originally promised. But I miss the days where you bought a game, you put that game in, and it worked.
It just worked.
Like, I miss that. Game companies, stop screwing around, please. Like, like, give us, we give you money. Please
Give us game.
give, give us the game. And I want to touch on one more thing before we move on to the books of questions. Give us the full game. Like, I don't mind paying a little extra for a little extra story. Like, Spider-Man PS4. Um, whenever it came out, it had a good, solid beginning, middle, end, and then it had a few extra chapters of post-game content that you could download. I'm fine with that. Charge a little extra for a little extra if you like the game enough. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is games like the Prince of Persia remake that came out in 2000. When was it? It was the one where uh, Nolan North, I believe, voiced the guy. Um,
um, it's not Sands of Time because that's the new one they're about to do.
no, well, that's the remake that we're about to get. Um,
Yeah,
I think it was 2008.
maybe.
Yes. So Prince of Persia 2008. It
Yes.
was a reboot of the franchise. Sands of Time had its trilogy, I believe, and so they decided that it was time to do something new with the IP. And the ending, it basically ended on a cliffhanger, which I don't mind ending on a cliffhanger. I don't mind. Like, I don't mind what if situations in stories. I don't like that, doesn't bother me. But then they had the audacity to release a DLC that continued the story. And it was like the true ending. Azor's Wrath did the same thing, where you got 99.9% of the game, but for the true ending, you now have to pay this extra. With the reason that I say that Spider-Man did it right is Spider-Man at least said, "Look, here's a beginning, middle, and end for this story that we are trying to tell. This
Mm-hmm.
post-game content, yes, it involves certain characters from the from the main game. Uh, yes, it does. Like it assumes that you have completed the main game, but it is just side stories. It is just extra content. You did not need to get the spoiler alert, but you did not need to pay an extra $20 for the final battle with Doctor Octopus. You got the battle with Doctor Octopus in the main game. The side stories, like the extra stuff, was just that. It was just extra stuff, and I'm fine with paying extra for extra. But game companies, don't do that. Don't put your true ending whenever games are getting so bloated for time and everything behind a paywall. Please, I'm broke. I can't afford it. I'm begging you, man. It's bad enough that, you know, I want to buy so many games every year, and I don't have the money or the time for it because, like I said, they're getting longer and they're getting more full, and to hide the true ending behind a paywall doesn't incentivize me. But anyway, so that's my rant and my trip
Are we
down.
done? Oh, we're done at yelling at the clouds now.
Yes, old man is done yelling at the clouds. Uh, so let's go ahead and move on to the book of questions. We'll start off with the modernized, refined book of questions from 2013. Question 4 is ignoring all financial considerations. Would you rather spend the next 5 years confined to an urban mecca like New York City or a beautiful isolated town on the California coast?
Ooh, this is a good one. I think I have my answer though. What about you?
I honestly, shocking as it may sound to people who don't know me very well, would actually rather be in an urban mecca. I don't know about New York City per se. I would lean more towards like San Antonio or Austin, just because I'm a Texan boy. But I'm much more of a city slicker, even though I've spent more time kind of in smaller towns. I just cities have a certain vibe to them that I kind of enjoy, and there's just always something to do. Like, no, obviously not this year because everything's closed because we're trying to not die. But like whenever we went to San Antonio for PAX this year before the pandemic, there was
Like
just
right before we got lucky on that one.
yeah. But there's just we could we could have gone, we could have walked in any direction from the hotel, and there would have been something going on.
Well, not even just from the hotel, literally just from the expo center too, because we did. Like when we
Yeah.
went to go get food, we literally just picked a direction that one night and just started walking
Yes. And
while I Googled what was nearby.
yeah. And that was so awesome to me. In smaller towns, you don't have that. You don't have the energy, I guess you could say.
It is an energy. I do agree with that. It is an energy. And I would definitely count San Antonio and Austin as urban meccas. And Houston as well, too.
I
Dallas.
I was I grew up. I spent some time just outside of Houston. Uh, it's an urban mecca for sure, but it's not the urban mecca that I would want to be confined to.
No, definitely more like San Antonio.
But
But I don't know, I'm kind of torn. I was decided on the beautiful isolated town on the California coast because, well, it's California. There's going to be good internet, so I'm not worried about that. I don't know. I do like the vibe of San Antonio. Like you said, there was no shortage of things we could go do. We went to that one after party thing and, met a bunch of cool people, played some demos, stuff like that. And I'm sure that's stuff you could do even when PAX isn't going, to be honest,
yeah, I mean, there's always a convention. If there's not a convention in town,
in a
there's
nearby city.
yeah, uh, like some of those smaller satellite towns like San Marcos or something.
Yeah,
You're
there's like San Japan and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, there's just something going on. Even where I currently am, there's not usually as much going on. It may not always interest me, but it at least has enough of that urban feel that I don't ever feel trapped. You know, like
Yeah.
because I think a lot of it comes from the fact that whenever I was in high school, we lived 15 miles outside of town. I literally lived in a log cabin. My senior year. Um, and I did not have a lot of excess gas money because I decided to buy a cell phone. So, it was a treat whenever mom was like, "Hey, Cody, you want to go to the store?" Yes. Like to me, that was a big thing. So I feel like that's probably why I'd lean more towards the urban mecca. And I'm sorry I cut your answer
Oh no,
off.
you're fine. I love hearing about your thoughts on things, and I can be patient. But yeah, no, I do agree with the thing about the urban mecca. But the thing is, for me, is with my personality, I don't know that I can handle that 24/7. I feel like I would get very overstimulated and overwhelmed being neurodivergent. So I think, like, I do love the whole urban mecca thing, but I think I would still have to stick with the beautiful isolated town because I would like to be able to step out of my door without hearing sirens, without, lots of lights. I'd like to be able to actually see the sky at night. I also, I have plans for my farm like we've talked about. I'd love to own my chickens and my goats, and you can't
Yeah,
really do that in an urban mecca. Like not even you can't really, you can't. Like you can't. You can't do it.
yeah,
So
and
as long as you give me good internet, which again, if it's the California coast, they've got Google fiber optics. Gimme.
they're right. And that's another thing that I'm glad you touched on is even though this is from the modernized book of questions, I do feel like this question is going to become a little bit,
Outdated.
yeah, because I feel like as technology does continue to march on, even those isolated towns are going to have enough amenities like an urban mecca that you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to be able to get the internet and connectivity of an urban mecca while still having that isolated feel.
Well, I mean, look at some of the cities that are looking at doing the bullet trains. Like here in Texas, one of the cities that
Yeah,
it's going to cut through is like Longview, which it's pretty sizable of a city, but it's small enough if you live like 5 minutes outside Longview, you're technically in the country, and then you take a 5 minute drive into Longview, and you can be on a train that will take you to Houston or Dallas or anywhere within like an hour.
which I've been on a bullet train whenever I went to South Korea. Yes, please.
I really want to try one out. Like I really hope this happens and this all gets approved in the next 10 years and I in my lifetime I get to ride on one. It would be so cool.
Oh, like I I feel like it wasn't as impactful for me because I was 14 years old. I'd never like that was the first time I'd left the country, and uh, I didn't have like a frame of reference for how big South Korea was. But I have a frame like I've spent, with the exception of that time in Job Corps, I've spent all my life in Texas. I have a frame of reference for how big Texas is. I live in East Texas, where you know I'm kind of close to, like I mentioned, being in the path of the hurricanes that just hit. I'm closer to Florida than I am part of Texas, like parts of Texas.
Absolutely.
Um, Texas is a exceedingly large state. The fact that we are only just now getting a bullet train blows my mind.
I've
Like
been trying to figure that out for years, why we haven't been at the forefront of that.
like as massive as this state is.
Well, and Texas is also one of the leading states right now in technological growth
Yeah. So why are we just now getting a bullet train? Why was this not a thing sooner?
because we've been spending too much time with our horse breeding to get the perfect horse to ride to school.
Yes. So fun fact, despite living in Texas all my life, I actually cannot ride a horse.
I can, but that's only because growing up I had neighbors with horses and they were kind enough since I was always out feeding the horses and playing with them to say, "Hey, we'll teach you." And I was like, "Awesome, cool, let's do that."
Yeah, no, I did like pony rides at the carnival whenever I was 5 and 6, but beyond that, I can't ride a horse.
Well, then we know in the case of an apocalyptic situation where there are no vehicles and you need somebody that knows how to ride a horse, you know where to find me.
Yes. Uh, in that event, I'm screwed because rule number one of Zombieland is cardio. I need to work on my cardio.
Well, you said that you're going back to the gym, so I have faith. You'll be fine. You've got a little
Right,
bit more time.
right.
But speaking of like memories of learning to ride horses and stuff, I think this is a great segue into the next book of questions question.
Yes. Would you like to read this one? I always read them off. Would you like to take a
I
crack
would
at it?
be honored.
All right.
So, for the old school book of questions, if you could spend 1 year in perfect happiness, but afterward remember nothing of the experience, would you do so? And if not, why not? And then there's a second part to the question that we'll talk about once we answer this.
So, I just knowing you, I feel like we might have, if not different answers, different reasons for our answer.
We're going to have vastly different reasons, I already know.
Um, I would want to, I would not want to lose those memories. For me, my memories make me who I am. Like I said, this, I feel like this question is actually a really good question for what has apparently become Nostalgia Week here at the Nice Goblin podcast because I've been able to just talk and gush about my memories, and those are what made me who I am, and they've shaped a lot of my personality. So I feel like if I lost that year's worth of memory, it would be very traumatic to me, and I would not know how to take that. So I
Boy,
would,
that's a mood.
yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh yeah, who am I talking to? Um,
So, backstory for you listeners. I actually have a traumatic brain injury from some medical stuff that caused me to lose a good year, year and a half of memories, and then some. I actually had a period where I barely even remembered my own significant other, let alone the people around me. I had to re meet some of my best friends at the time, and some of those relationships never fully recovered. And it was a very scary experience, but I also learned a lot about myself. And so this is why, Nice Goblin said, I think we're going to have vastly different reasons for our answers. So obviously mine is that I would definitely spend the 1 year in perfect happiness, and if I could remember nothing of the experience, that would be fine. I've already lost that much memory, and I'm still who I am. It has shaped me differently. I do agree with Nice Goblin that our memories kind of shape who we are, and it is very traumatic to lose them, especially precious memories. But, the human mind and the human will and resolve has a weird way of kind of pushing you forward no matter what. So, Sure, I'll take a year of perfect happiness. 2020 could be the year of perfect happiness. That would be great. Like, let's finish out this year with some happiness.
All right. So the little extra portion of this is which is more important, actual experiences or the memories that remain when the experiences are over?
And again, with this one, I feel like we're going to have different answers for different reasons because mine is the actual experience is more important. Like, I feel like it's really important for me to say that I have done things, even if I can't fully remember them. I can tell people I've gone to PAX South 2 years in a row. I may not really remember my first PAX experience, and my memory of this last experience is already getting kind of spotty, but just to say that I had that experience and I had that connection with people for me is very, very important.
Seeing to me, I do feel like the memories that remain are a bit more important because I can, like, the experience is great, but just being able to remember and for a time go back to where I was, because, I was with Mystic during PAX South 2020, and I'm able to go back and I can remember that little diner that we ate at that one night, and I can remember the smell of the massive cookie that I ate for dessert.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that
Yeah,
place.
see, um,
That's why you get friends like NiceGoblin when you have brain damage and you can't remember anything, and you make them go with you, and then they can remember for you.
right? Yeah, no, I'm your external memory. I'm your external hard drive. Uh,
Exactly. Just have a nice Goblin 94 in your pocket when you go do anything important, and you can get the experience and they get the memories for you.
yes, and I remember like, so PAX South happened right before or right after my birthday, and I
Like, wasn't it
remember
like 2 days afterwards?
uh,
Three.
PAX South. We left the day after, I believe,
Yeah,
because
but I
we
mean, like, the official first day of it was 2 days after your birthday.
yes, because it
Yeah.
started on the Friday. We got to San Antonio on Thursday, which is the day after my birthday, and you, me, and a few of our friends went to Dirty Nellie's Irish Pub there on the Riverwalk.
See, I
And
remember that place because it was delicious.
yes, and it was just a vibrant atmosphere, and uh, I can go back to remembering the guy pounding away on the piano, and I can remember singing along to Sweet Caroline and like whatever
Bum,
other
bum, bum.
right, and all the other just fun songs that he was singing. I can remember singing along with. Uh, I remember sitting outside. I remember,
At the wet table. I
yeah,
remember the smell of the river walk right there, and I remember it had just rained, and so the table was wet. That's about all I remember.
yes. So whenever we got there, one of our guests that was celebrating with us, they were feeling a little confined in the restaurant itself. It was just a little too much for them. Again, because it is a kind of confined,
Pub.
kind of small Irish pub, Irish style pub. You have the guy who is he's playing to the club or to the club across the Riverwalk. Um, like this guy is pounding on this piano and singing from inside Dirty Nellies like he is performing for people doing the river taxi and that are across the bridge and across like he is playing to the entire Riverwalk. And so I can understand how that's kind of too much for some people. But we sat outside and we were still more than able to hear and still more than able to get the atmosphere from inside. But yeah, it had rained all day. Uh, Also, I love the fact that this took place in January, but because it happened in Texas, it was still pleasant enough to sit outside. Um, but I was I still have that memory of being able to sit outside, consume some adult beverages because if you're going to go to an Irish pub, you might as well, right?
I mean, mood. I'd
And
say that way too much. I'm sorry.
it's been a very mood episode.
It has, though.
But yeah, no, like those memories are going to last with me for hopefully as long, like I can't speak to in absolutes, only deals in absolutes. Uh, but I'll be able to hold on to those memories for a good long while. And now, if you looked, like, there's nothing tangible that I can think of to, like, there's nothing tangible at Dirty Nelly's that says that I was there. There's nothing at the convention center that says PAX took place other than maybe they still have that big uh uh oh, what's the word?
The big logo thing, yeah.
Yeah, they may still have that hiding somewhere. But there's just something about the memories to me that they may not be more real, but they take me back, and I'm able to put myself back in that moment, even if just for a little bit. And
See, that's why I take a lot of pictures. Like the whole time we were there, I was just taking pictures and pictures and pictures and pictures. So
yeah, and so that's why I feel like, yeah, memory to me, memories to mystic experiences, and I feel like this is a nice episode. We took a nice little trip down nostalgia lane, memory lane. We
I
got
think it also really helps explain our dynamic to the viewers a little more about why we mesh so well.
right. Like I said, I'm just your external hard drive.
Oh, you're more than that. Shut your face.
I can't, otherwise this would be a very boring podcast.
Oh, so I'm boring. I couldn't do it on my own. I see how it is.
I never said that. Do not put words in my mouth. But no, this has been a good episode. I think this
I think
episode
this is
was
my
good.
favorite we've done so far. I think we've showed a lot more personality in this one. We've gotten a little more comfortable. I'm really excited to see the future ones.
Yep. And if you are also excited to see the future ones, if you've enjoyed this, like I said, leave a like, put a comment. We'll get around to reading it. I know, like I said, I spend a good chunk of my Sundays waiting and hoping for comments. I have liked every comment that has been posted, I believe.
And
So,
speaking of those comments, thank you again to Brandon, Darklight Raven, Christine, and Joseph for supporting us and leaving those great comments. We really appreciate it, and we hope you continue to leave these great comments and interact with us.
absolutely. And, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications.
Ring
Uh,
ring.
like I said, check the description so that you can join the Discord and get in here and interact with us more because we'd love to hear from you. I know that I talk about having a day job, but, I do still have some free time. I'd love to spend some free time actually getting to interact with people. So join the Discord, follow me on Twitter. Like I said, I'm also on Twitch. I'm streaming every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 10:30 to 11, somewhere in there, is when I try to start Central Standard Time. Um, you're gonna have to do your own conversions on that because outside of the United States time zones, I couldn't tell you what you're looking at.
I
But
mean, you can easily Google it nowadays. You can literally Google just, this time CST to
yeah,
whatever your personal time is.
yeah, no, I know that we have done a lot of waxing poetic about nostalgia and all that, but I don't get me wrong, I am really glad to live in the time that I do, where Google is a thing and I can just be like, hey, what's the answer to this? Oh, let me just consult this small computer in my pocket and have the entirety of man's knowledge at my beck
At
and
your
call.
fingertips. Yep.
Like, good night. I wish I could run into my sixth grade math teacher who was always, you're not always going to have a calculator, so you can't use a calculator on my test, and just be like, hi, ma'am, remember me? Remember that? Remember that argument you had about why I'm not going to use a calculator? Yeah. I don't
What's
remember
that
the
holding up
Pythagorean
now?
theorem, but I know how to find the Pythagorean theorem.
I'm sure you could even Google a website that does it all for you if you just plug in some information.
Khan Academy, Wolfram Alpha. I didn't even have to Google that.
The fact
I,
that you know that off the top of your head is quite impressive, I won't lie.
I may or may not have needed some help in college algebra.
I needed so much help in college algebra.
Well, not sponsored by the way, but hey, Wolfram Alpha, uh, Khan Academy, hit us up. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. This has also been our longest episode, so thank you for joining us for that. And we have officially been doing this for uh, 4 weeks now, right at about a
We
month.
have.
So we hope that Brandon, Christine, Darklight Raven, and Joseph, we hope that y'all continue to stick with us. We hope that any new people uh, continue or join us. And here's to another at least 4 weeks.
At
At least
least.
at least another four. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take it easy. Oh, we're not gonna do a silly ending.
Oh, what were we gonna do?
I don't know.
I don't have anything silly on the top of my head. I'm sorry.
I feel like we've achieved silliness.
I mean, I think the whole episode was kind of silly.